Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Beacon House Podcast. It's been a minute. We'd like to thank, I'm going to start out by thanking everybody that commented and enjoyed the last two episodes, our regular and light beer shootout. By popular request, we're going to have some more versions of those coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. Also, we've got some real good things coming in October for the Halloween month and all that stuff, like always. So thanks always for always, being here with Beacon House. And I want to say hey to my co-host, Grace Steele over there. How's it going?
Hello. Good. It's going good.
Grace, how have you been?
I've been really well. I've missed you, Spencer.
I have missed you too, dear. How's life?
Life is good. It's a beautiful time and summer has ending. Actually, tomorrow is the last day of summer.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is that?
Tomorrow's the 21st, correct?
Is that
22nd?
The equinox?
Yeah, fall equinox.
Somebody
tomorrow.
was talking to me, but they were like, "I've got to get this." I was talking to somebody, and they were just like, "I've got to get all my things done by the equinox," and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yes, on the 22nd, so tomorrow.
Okay.
So the planets are changing. So if anyone's feeling a little wacky out there, not normal, things are unbalanced or things are shifting, that's why.
Also, it could just be your fault for being a terrible person.
I mean that too. But we don't want to believe that.
I know. Everybody that's like super into astrology don't want to believe that it could just be their fault. No offense to all my friends that love astrology. I have so many friends that are into astrology. I love you guys so much. And I'll be here for you when you realize it's fake. But anyway, I love you, Grace. Don't fucking hit me. Let's get on to something way more important than astrology or life. Our friend Rachel Reetz. Hey, what's going on?
Hello. Long time no see.
Hey, Rachel.
Long time.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
No see. Rachel Reetz is back on the podcast. Any of you that have listened to Beacon House for a long time will remember her from past episodes, and she's wonderful, and she's here to join us again today. Rachel, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone. How have you been? Not that you can answer that.
You should answer anyway. You should answer.
Answer in your car on the way to work.
Yes,
Everyone's probably
yes.
on their mind this fucking person's going so slow.
Dude, I do want to say, we have picked up a couple of new listeners. Shout out to our friend Sarah. Shout out to my friend Hannah, not our friend Hannah Isosaki, but our other friend Hannah, the very talented barber that travels between sort of like Chattanooga area and Knoxville often. She started listening a little bit. So shout out to you, boss, if you're listening.
Thank you.
Yes, and everybody, thank you so much for all the new listeners we picked up. So if you're not a longtime listener, this is a very good day to you because you're going to get to meet and hear from our incredibly talented friend, Rachel Reetz. And so, Rachel, let's start out. You just got back from Chicago.
I did.
Talk about it.
My husband, Chris, and I went up to Chicago for an event called Hydrodynamics. Hydrodynamics is a dance event that was inspired from the liquid community. Typically, Chris throws one called Confluence every couple years, and finally, our friend Scotty decided to try to put his hat in the ring and throw an event. It turned out to be very, very magical. A whole lot of our family got together. Imran came down, and we had David come over, and there was just our original Chicago family up there as well, and multiple other people that I'm forgetting because I'm trying to think of their names on the fly. But
I can never remember names when I need to.
Either. No wonder that they stutter at the Academy Awards, or they're rushing and they're like, wait.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It is.
No, but it was a really magical event. Chris ended up taking the Plain White Tom Award, which kind of...
explain that a little, if you don't mind. That was very moving to me. I saw that online, and it was really, really special. And just go ahead and explain why.
So Plain White Tom was a member of the liquid community that unfortunately unalived himself about, I don't even know how many years back, but I know it was 5 or 6 years ago.
I remember being your friend while you guys were going through that, and it was heartbreaking.
But what he was amongst many other things, was the glue that held a lot of the dance community together in that small niche of liquid dancers. And so Scott wanted to award someone that had embodied a few different aspects of Tom, into whether it was into their dance or into their life within dance. And it ended up going to Chris because Chris, since Tom has passed, has been recognized as the glue that brings us all back together even when we start falling apart. Since our events aren't yearly, we do get to fall apart quite a bit, and then he throws events that bring us all together, which Scott is now helping do. And so he actually won a secondary award that was another piece that was commissioned by Plain White Mom, Plain White Tom's mother. So they both got to walk away being recognized for their efforts and trying to keep this small little niche dance together.
I think that's amazing.
Oh, the whole room was crying.
I can imagine it was, and you guys lived there for a little while. You lived in Chicago for a little while, and were members of the dance community there. So I realize a lot of this stuff is this has a lot of roots. This has a lot of history for you guys and stuff. So that was really cool to see. Was there any other cool takeaways from your time up there? Do you meet any cool new dancers or anything? Or
I didn't meet any cool new dancers personally. I mean, I did meet some people in person that I've only met online. Mike and Pourtois. I'm sorry if I pronounced Pour's name wrong, but yeah, I got to meet some people that I've been connected with for many, many years through a group called Liquid Dance Lab on Facebook. So if you're ever interested in looking into that style of dance or looking at how people do the dance, there's a group, and it's a public group called Liquid Dance Lab on Facebook. But nothing majorly profound. It was just another night of all of our family and friends coming together, and just a reminder that we really need to be doing this more. So,
that's awesome. I'm going to check that out. Online, because you were telling me, because I'm naive about liquid dancing, and I'm a dancer, so like I love all form of dance, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about. But I want to see this video, and the one that you're talking about, Spencer. I want to check this out. That sounds super cool. And
Rachel and Chris,
a lot of talented people.
Rachel and Chris have been just about as long as like I've been sort of like married to the Knoxville music scene. They have been just as connected to the Knoxville dance scene. And I'm talking like, there's a lot of people they're passionate about stuff like that, like when they're in their early 20s and then they sort of grow out of it, which no shame to people like that, because life goes on. And I realize a lot of people like build these big families, and that doesn't allow room for a lot of stuff. So there's no shame or judgment, but
yeah, I
think it's cool to see people that kind of carry it on, and it becomes kind of like a lifelong thing, because I can identify with that. That's why I'm still, my next milestone will be age 50 whenever that happens. If that happens, God willing. But I'm still sitting in a room surrounded by drums and guitars and microphones and stuff like that, and I just don't see myself getting over it anytime soon.
Yeah, you're gonna die with a music room.
Yeah, I'll be buried. There'll be a fucking guitar in my casket.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I'm fine with it. And so, but I have seen you guys on a similar path since I've known you, and they're just as passionate about like the mechanics of the thing, and they're big fans of other dancers, and it's not just what they do, and it's always been very similar to like my obsession with music and stuff. So please, like when Rachel Reetz says go check this page out on Facebook or go watch this link, like Beacon House listeners, fucking do it. You won't regret it. They're super, super talented, and they have a lot of amazing resources.
What's the group's name again?
Liquid Dance Lab.
And where on Facebook?
Just
Instagram?
on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Are there any other groups or communities that you would recommend people checking out?
Liquid related, I can't really. We've tried getting up a TikTok, but with all the music restrictions on other platforms, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I just highly recommend that if you actually go to Liquid Dance Lab, you pay attention to who is still really active in the community, because that's how niche it is. There's only going to be a handful of people, and follow them personally on the different platforms. Nick Sector, he's up in Baltimore. He didn't make it out to Chicago, but he actually has a decent TikTok. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. I can plug it at the end, or maybe we can share it in a link if people are interested. But there are a few people, Matt Darth Matters. Not all of these people go by their real names, by the way. So Matt, he used to put up a lot of either tutorials or just small snippets that were easy to show him in practice so that you could see what his movement and kind of take from his movement and break it down and do it into your own movement. He was really big into taking this dance and evolving it into different mathematical ways. It's kind of hard to talk about if you don't really know the dance and how it breaks down mathematically, and that would be probably better for a whole nother podcast for a whole nother person to do. But it's better just to follow, I think, individuals once you figure out who you like and what you want to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I could not be more in agreement with Rachel. And there is such a mathematics and such a mechanics to it. And it's fascinating to me. And I encourage anybody
super interesting. I really want to see this.
Well, it's what we all do now. We all sit around and watch cool videos. Like, go watch some of this stuff. Like, you'll fucking love it. Well, thank you for that glimpse into the liquid community, Rachel. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Grace Steele, what's been going on with you? Got any fun stuff? Before we get into the Facebook debacle.
Oh God, Facebook
I
debacle.
just hearing myself say that, I'm just like,
I'm so over Facebook.
God,
and that's a whole other thing. What's going on? Pet sitting's going really good.
Yes.
Doing that.
I would never be able to.
But I like doing it. I like being my own boss.
I don't think I'd ever be able to survive in what they call the gig economy. Which
I don't think I will financially, so I need to.
Well, I mean, some people can, but like a lot of the people that are doing just like Uber and DoorDash and everything's an app-based business, and like you don't actually go anywhere to work, and you don't actually work for anybody technically. You have to keep track of your own taxes, and it's kind of just like you set your own hours. I mean, I understand how attractive that is. I understand like the freedom that's in that, and like I get it, but holy shit, man! Like I would never, if I didn't have to be somewhere on time, I would just sleep. Like there's no way. Like I stay so busy that I feel like I would die in that thing. But maybe it works for some people. You know, I think it works for the kind of person who just wakes up and starts working their ass off at whatever. If they don't have anything to do, they clean their house top to bottom. When that shit's done, they go to the gym. You know, they're like that kind of person, maybe. But oh my gosh, man, I'm terrified at the idea of having to be my own boss. And I kind of am with my cable business, but that's a much more occasional thing. That's more like special orders.
It's your side hustle.
It's a side hustle for sure.
Find me on Rover.
I know some people that do
take care of your babies.
There's one called Thumbtack, which pairs people with like I guess amateur handymen. Like so, a lot of people.
I've heard yes.
If you need somebody to come over and like hang a picture or
outlet,
they'll come and do that. But it's amateur people; they're not licensed professionals. I don't think they are. But
some could be, but most of them probably aren't. But
yeah, I would imagine anybody that's licensed probably if they're freelancing, they're probably going to put it out there anywhere. But yeah, it's crazy how many anything you want. There's an app for that. Almost, maybe. Am I leave anything out? Like you can get people to come over and fix your sink. You can get somebody to come over and walk your dog. You can get somebody to bring you your groceries.
I didn't know that there was a website, a company that you could rent cars. People, you can just put your car out for rent.
It's called Turo.
I had no fucking idea.
I
just blew my mind. Someone was like, I rented one for like 2 days of Tesla and drove it just to see what it was like. And I was like, what? And it's not expensive.
No, I had a
Airbnb your car.
A guy who's working for me who drives a vehicle. He hit a curb and destroyed his wheel or what, it didn't have a spare, blah, 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 blah. And the guy literally got on Turo and took an Uber. There's another third-party service there. Took an Uber out to like East Knoxville and got the car and came back. And in 1 hour, he had a new car for a couple days.
Like it's like renting a car.
Yeah.
But it's like Airbnb car. Like that's what it is.
Yes. Yes,
like that's exactly what it is. That's so badass.
That's really cool.
I had no idea about that until it was probably like 2 weeks ago. Blew my mind.
Yeah, I learned about that.
I bet you can imagine what kind of cars I've been looking at to just rent and drive for a day.
I learned about that when the last time I went to the beach because I thought it'd be cool to try and rent like a vintage convertible or something and just cruise up and down the beach in that. Like a fucking 64
you
Impala.
Would.
Oh, 100%. But they don't. It's hard to find stuff like that on there. It's hard to find like classic cars and stuff. Usually, it's just like a guy with a Honda that he's just got sitting in the yard or something. You know.
Yeah. No, but we're like all programmed and conditioned to like want what we want right now. and like immediate,
instant gratification.
Yeah, immediate like pleasure. Like we're not patient anymore. Like we're not willing to wait and work harder. Like we just want it right now. But go ahead.
Because there's money in it. Yeah, because they found a way to make money off of it, off of our impatience. And I'm guilty too, man. Like,
but it ruins like things in our life. Like,
I think long term it's bad for us.
You think?
Like, I just think what it does to when you're not used to like waiting. Okay, you know that thing about like the octopus or the cuttlefish or whatever they recently found out. There's like an animal that can do delayed gratification. And that means it's smarter than like so many other animals. There was a marine creature recently that realized they taught it they could put a treat down and it could either eat that, but it learned if it waited, it would get a better treat. And it learned, and it was something like the cuttlefish or I don't know, something like.
Yeah, the cuttlefish are extremely smart, just like squid, octopus.
But basically, being able to get your head around the idea of delayed gratification, like working towards something that you can't have immediately, or like exercising patience to get something, like is 100% psychologically associated with high intelligence. So what does that say about us that we're just like, no, I want it now, phone, you pick your phone up, no, now, like like a baby with a rattle, like meh, Let me ask you this: is there, if you had a smartphone, are there any reasons to leave the house anymore?
Nope.
No.
And I don't do it unless I have to.
Like, people will bring your groceries. You can get Amazon. You can order food. You can have somebody walk your dog that'll come over and do it. You can
get a maid, do your laundry.
You still got to go to the doctor unless you're rich enough to have the doctor come to you.
But they have telehealth appointments now.
What is that going
to... I mean, if you need tests run, though.
It's true.
Yeah, but basically, no. You wouldn't have to leave for like weeks.
I mean, the last time I was sick, it was like... kind of when there was still a lot of like real high COVID numbers, and you couldn't get a doctor appointment just to be seen for like a standard sinus infection or something. So I had to go on like the laptop and do a telehealth, like a FaceTime thing with a doctor in some other state. And he was like, tell me your symptoms, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And he would look at my medical history and go, okay, and he would send a prescription in to the pharmacy near my house. And you can have that delivered.
And I think that's great. Like if you just have a sinus infection or like a UTI and you just need antibiotics, why go all the way in to a brick and mortar, pay $200 for a doctor visit when literally you already know what you need. You just need a doctor to prescribe it.
Yeah, exactly.
It just because, I mean, if antibiotics were not prescribed, we'd all take advantage of them and we'd all be, not immune. What's the word I'm looking for?
Our immune system would be just shot.
Yeah, because we would take antibiotics for everything. So I understand why we need a doctor for it, but like I don't know why we have to go all the way into a doctor's office for that
we've got to be pretty...
So they can make money.
Well, we've got to be pretty close now.
Insurance.
To people coming... Like if you do need blood work, we've got to be pretty close to being able... Like especially health insurance companies have got to be pretty close to like, oh, we'll send a guy over to your house and he comes over and takes blood and he leaves. Surely that we're not that far from that. If that's not already, forgive me if anybody
I haven't even thought about this.
We should start that.
That should be something.
I'm pretty sure fucking United Healthcare or Cigna or whoever already has like...
I mean, they already have the mobile IV units in Las Vegas just for pleasure. I mean, that's not even for health. It's, hey, I partied all night. I need a IV boost, and they give you a bunch of vitamins. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So...
It's a thing.
They would just have to add blood work to that, and they would double their business for different purposes.
Dude, where I get scared is thinking like, and again, I'm old school, but I'm not resistant to change or technology, or I'm not like antiquated about new concepts. Like I feel like I'm a pretty, I don't know, level-headed. I wouldn't say progressive, but a level-headed thinker. And if we get into, I've heard this before described as cocoon phase, like when everything gets so easy that you don't have to do much. I mean, it's fun for you, but you kind of just like hole up. They say you hole up and kind of wither away. And what happens to the world outside? Like, what if all of a sudden we don't need like stores to shop in or doctor's offices to go to, or like
we wouldn't leave the house and we would all just.
If you work from home, eat from home, do everything. Like when you go outside, what's there in 50 years? What's outside? Like, what do you drive past on the way to?
More trees.
Just empty, like I can see this weird dystopian thing where everything exists completely online through the screen of a computer or a smartphone.
Have you not been looking up the future of cities?
Shit, no. I don't want to know.
No.
Tell me. Do you know? Tell us, Rachel. You have a look on your face like I'm about to tell you some shit.
You just Google future of cities.
So, oh God, the reason I didn't want to bring it up is because my memory is so bad. But
this is going to fuck me up, Grace.
Somewhere in the Middle East, they are creating a vertical city. And vertical city.
Would that be Dubai, Mumbai?
I don't know those. I didn't remember
Some guy in Mumbai.
If you give me a second, I can look it up.
All right. I can edit this out. We'll take all the time we need. Maybe it's some guy in Mumbai wants to build the sky really high. And you say this is in...
It's called Saudi Arabia's Mirrored City, and it's also called The Line.
Holy shit.
It's a 170-kilometer long city, which will be called The Line, designed to house 9 million people with 500-meter high skyscraper that will stretch 170 kilometers across northwest Saudi Arabia.
How long is that? I don't know kilometers.
They're a little shorter than a mile.
Yeah, they're a little shorter than a mile.
But they're basically like a mile. Somebody's going to roast us in the comments on this. It's not exactly like a mile. It's actually 0.8% of a mile. You know?
Basically, what I remember from the little video I watched is the way that you travel is going to be streamlined down the middle of the city. No one's going to own their own vehicle. It's just whenever you need to go somewhere, you step out and then you need to go down. And that would really only be to visit people that you know further down the city. Everything that you need is going to be within your little area.
When is this coming out?
I think they want it to be out in the next 20 years, but don't quote me on that.
Right.
In our lifetime.
A lot of the crazy changes you're hearing about, like the move to all electric vehicles, the move to these like really automated cities and stuff. Most people, that's supposed to be like in the next 20 to 30 years. A lot of this crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because we're trying to find sustainable living.
Right.
Like we haven't found an exoplanet or anything like that we are able to move to, and we are quickly going through our resources here on Earth, and we are quickly becoming overpopulated, and we're trying to figure out a way to make that more sustainable to heal our Earth. So if we can compact our population into these vertical cities, because the only way to go is up at some point, because we're going to need the agriculture to go out to grow food.
Makes so much sense right there.
It's kind of mind blowing, all the science that we don't know that's going on trying to save the human species right now.
I wonder if my sister knows about this, because she went to school for sustainable energy, so it's what she does for a living.
Well, they're also doing laboratory grown meat now.
Yeah,
which people claim tastes amazing, and it's real meat. It's not like vegetarian fake meat. No offense if you like that. So I like a veggie burger just as much as the next guy, but it's actually like real, I guess, animal cells, but they're just growing like, you don't grow a whole animal that like eats and farts and runs around and they have to sustain it and kill it. Like you just grow like a shoulder and then cook it or something crazy like that.
God, I would love to see that process.
I think you can.
I'm going to go pick a ribeye from the garden. I'll be right back.
Yeah. They're already selling it in restaurants. Like
I've heard about it. Yeah, they are. But I wonder, like, that shit's got to be expensive.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that's the see, and here.
Well, they need to start reducing the amount of animals, like cattle that we have. Like, we're fucking polluting the air.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the bigger factors.
And
that's
animal. Part of the sustainability thing is like the amount of meat that we consume is just apparently not sustainable long term. I don't know. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy to think where the world is going like that, because it's so, and it's obviously we're the problem. Like we're the ones fucking everything up.
We're the parasite.
But yeah, dude, it's weird. It's
Humans
weird.
suck.
Amen.
They suck really bad.
I mean, I love a lot of them. Like I love you too, and I love some other people. But boy, as a race, we're pretty terrible. Speaking of that, there's our fucking segue right there, ladies. Speaking about how bad people suck. Anybody need a bathroom break? Take it now, because we're going to get into this one. Okay. So I'll intro this a little bit. So was it the weekend?
It was the weekend.
Within the last 4 or 5 days.
I was in Chicago, so the weekend.
Grace made a post.
Yeah, it was 5 days ago.
And let me tag this on. I started seeing, I didn't know that anything had happened. I started seeing an awful lot of people posting about mermaids. And I was like, what? What's going on? And then it was about, if you have a problem with the color of a mermaid, like the problem is you. And I was like, the color of, what's going on? I didn't know. I had to catch up. And apparently they dropped a trailer for a live action Little Mermaid movie.
Yeah.
And the lead actress was how am I supposed to say it? She was a black chick. Okay, whatever. Person of color, whatever.
She was an ebony queen.
She's really, really gorgeous, and she sang beautiful. I mean, I watched the clip, and I was like, damn, that chick can sing like her fucking ass off. But anyway, I guess people, you were talking about how many dislikes the video had or something?
It had over 2 million dislikes on YouTube for the original trailer being released.
I mean, okay, so...
And if you take into account how many people get on YouTube without being logged into a YouTube account, you have to be logged in to react up or down to anything on there. I don't know how many times I've gone to like a video and I can't because I'm not logged in. I'm like,
Same.
well, I don't feel like figuring that out right now. So that's 2 million people who have an account that took time out of their day to press a button.
Jesus Christ. So...
I wonder how much the new Aladdin with Will Smith, how many dislikes it got on there, because I mean, you're changing the genie.
Man, I don't know, but...
You know? Like, literally changed the genie from Robin Williams to Will Ferrell.
Well, typically, like, when I see something like this, and I'll typically just go, people are fucking stupid, and I sort of just brush it off. Because you can't fix stupid, but at the same time, over the weekend, Grace, you made a post. Oh, you've got it pulled up there. And it said, I believe it said, tell everybody kind of what the nature of the post said.
It said, mermaids aren't real, but racism is. We love you, Chloe and Halle Bailey.
And then the comments section opened up.
Yeah.
And I read it. Again, we've had conversations on here where we talked about the comments section of anything. It's like the last place on earth you should go. But man, I read some of them, and it was disturbing just how, I don't know, man. Like
how ignorant some people, like how just...
Or how much they defend their ignorance. Like that's the thing. And again, not trying to be part of the problem. I still try and see, like, why does this guy feel this way? Like, what is it that is he really just that stupid, or is there something that's, why is he so bothered by this? Like, why does anybody care what color the Little Mermaid is coming out in the new movie? But man, it opened up, and I mean, I don't want to get into like what all they typed, but it was very much like they had, at some point, somebody kind of attacked Grace, and they said like, well, you don't know anything about racism, and she said, actually, I have a biracial daughter.
Yeah,
and
I believe I even asked him first what he thought what racism was to him. And that was my first question of him attacking me, is like, okay, you say that I don't know what racism is, but you do, so I would like to know what your version of racism is, because, you know, people are bigots and so forth. Anyway, so he
and he never answered.
He never answered that question. I asked him twice, and I reminded him about it, and then he said that I play the victim, and I don't know, it's people like me who are the problem. He said, you don't know what true racism sounds like. You're young and naive. People want what they know, and often people don't like change. That doesn't make them racist. When you say shit like this, it makes you look like a drama queen.
So first of all, I think a lot of people's first step on their journey of being self-aware in their own racism is thinking that racism is only lynching or separating or...
Yeah.
Actually being physically hateful, segregation, murders,
hate crime.
Yeah.
You know.
But it goes so much deeper than that.
So much.
And I think when you address people's first initial step on their journey, it's always a reaction like that guy on your post.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not an expert on racism, but
I would imagine,
do know what that looks like. And I know what it looks like for my daughter to always think that she can't be that princess because it's white. Like, let her grow up and see, like, what's the difference?
And also, man, the first time anybody ever explained, this was probably back. I'm imagining this was definitely pre George Floyd, and but at some point, and I was talking, I think, and I was defending like the white people that I know that aren't racist and aren't bigots and aren't pieces of shit, and like just like I don't even know why. And again, since then, what we've learned is if you're defending anything that looks like racism, you're on the wrong side of the argument.
You are definitely on the wrong side.
No matter how, and I wasn't defending racism, I was just defending like white people who aren't racists. But it's not part of the conversation they get to have. And we've all since learned that. And but I was saying something like, what's so offensive about like Disney movies and stuff? Like, why is everybody so mad? And a lady told me, she said, because all those kids grow up watching these princesses and these princes, and they don't look anything like them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to grow up in a cultural world where you feel like all the stories that get told are about other people that are different from you, with different families and different stories and different backgrounds and all that. And it just can be troubling as a kid. I mean, obviously people grow up, they do okay, but that was just something that, it's just like a white guy growing up. I never noticed that shit.
Like, what if they changed Eric? Like, would it bother you if he wasn't white anymore?
Or everyone's suggesting Eric gets changed to a lesbian.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another.
Or two gay men, or Ariel's actually a man.
And one of the people, somebody said, well, what if they changed Aladdin and made Aladdin like a white dude? Or if Aladdin all of a sudden became like an Asian guy, or like who would it offend? Like, and I don't have an answer to that, but like, see what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily think that's apples and apples.
I feel like his character was written to be a certain race, though.
Right.
Whereas the mermaid was the mermaid. There's nothing in the book that says this is a Caucasian mermaid.
Yeah.
So, and same back to like, I was kind of thinking while you guys were talking, and it's like racism has gone so long and so deep that all the artworks that have come out, as long as we've had artwork, including all the way back to like Shakespeare and Chaucer and before, those were white guys writing. So we all assumed all the characters were white. But now Asian, Black, Indian, all of these different races, these little girls have to grow up, and they never get to think like, do they ever dream like, I really want to be Juliet and Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah. You have to think about like, when was the first time like Barbie came out with?
We're just
it wasn't
now
just white,
like an African American Barbie,
or Asian or Hispanic.
Definitely the 80s.
Like, it took.
I definitely think they had that in the 80s.
But we're
and
just
I remember
now,
people being shitty about it. I was a kid, but I remember it being in the news. Like, people were mad because it was a black Barbie. And I'm just like, even as a kid, before ever being, I was just thinking like, who gives a fuck? I have black friends in the neighborhood. Like, there's such a thing as black.
That's the problem. Like, it's a fictional character. It's a made up thing,
But
like,
something,
I wouldn't be mad, like I said, or I wouldn't be mad if Gandalf was black as long as he was still a wizard. I wouldn't care if Frodo was Asian as long as he was still a fucking hobbit. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't matter. So, but it's just like we said, people that they just like can't give in. Like, they have to defend like that they're not racist.
But those people, the people in your comments section that were arguing about, they said things like you were just spreading drama, and that people don't know. There was one guy later on that really went in hard about your post, and he was talking about how people don't know what racism is, and like, it's not real, and there were all these things. I mean, that guy was fucking nuts. The guy says you're indoctrinated and a product of a poor education because you posted mermaids aren't real, but racism is. Now, think about that.
I was literally making a general statement with that. Like, mermaids aren't real. Like, who gives a fuck what color it is? But racism is. So people are showing their true color right now, like who they fucking are, by like standing. Like, who cares that? Why don't you have some dignity for the little girls that are now getting to see the Little Mermaid, like my daughter. Why does it always have to be white? And someone who is going through a really tough time identifying as either being white or African American. And it's tough for her. Something that I can't help. I can guide her the best way that I know how, but I am not in her shoes. So I get to watch racism happen to her.
And also, this guy says at some point, he goes, nobody gives a shit about skin color. Seriously, who do you know that just can't stand black or brown skin? Nobody. That shit ain't real. It is in someone's head. It's few and far between. Meanwhile, 2 million dislikes for the new video. Like, this guy is completely out of touch. It is 100% real.
Well, and that's why I made the point on that post that if her tail color had changed to purple, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It is strictly about her skin color.
It is. And now, and again, just so that we're not part of the problem, just blindly spreading our opinions or whatever like that. Like, to look at these, why are so many people upset about this? And I do think part of it is a reaction to the last couple of years of like woke culture and virtue signaling, and there's definitely a downside to all the stuff that's been forced on you in the media, a lot of the censorship, like a lot of people that are just fed up with their media and their art being indoctrinated with all this cancel culture. And like, again, and I'm not taking a side on it, but there's enough people that just want to watch movies and not really think too much and not be, they just want to be entertained, and their favorite actors are getting fired, and like all of a sudden, like the plot lines of all their movies have all these like messages in them that maybe fall a little flat, like some of the Star Wars stuff that happened. And again, regardless of where you stand on it, like bad art is bad art. And so I think that's one of the things now they see, like The Little Mermaid. To me, I watched the trailer and it didn't look like it was pushing an agenda. It didn't look like it was trying to sell an opinion. There was no weird ulterior message. She literally just swam up and started singing really well, I might add.
She's just playing a character. She's just a character. She's just Ariel.
Yeah, she didn't.
I don't think at all
she didn't swim
anywhere
up
in
and
the movie or the book, because when you're a little kid in the 90s, you have the VHS and the book of The Little Mermaid with the doll and the pajamas, right? Flopping and spinning. Okay. Anyways,
I didn't, but I'll take your word for it.
It doesn't talk about a white ivory skin. It doesn't like glistening. It's like, so you don't know what race she is.
Well,
she's iconically a redhead with blue eyes, but I haven't read the story, the original, like I think it was Hans Christian Andersen that originally wrote The Little Mermaid. I haven't ever read that to see if there was a description. But the thing is, redheads have had how long has it been? 30 years since Little Mermaid came out?
Yeah.
It's okay for someone else to have the spotlight for a little while.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that is the original, like the animated Ariel with like the fiery red hair, and she was real pale. She was iconic.
And she's not going anywhere.
No, she's not. With the red, yeah.
You're still going to be able to buy her Ariel in Disney stores and the new Ariel in Disney stores.
She's not going away.
Yeah. And why can't it be a generational thing? I mean, either way, but like when I was watching that trailer, like the girl didn't swim up and go, blah, 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 white people suck, and then start singing. There was no agenda to it at all. It just looked like a take on a movie. I don't think it warranted all the hate. Now, there are some movies that do get real preachy and real virtue signally, and like at some point I go, like, this is not what I came here for. I came here to watch something creative. And, like I'll go to the discussion boards or whatever if we want to talk about that stuff. We'll have a community outreach program or something. But if I'm just here to watch like a horror movie and it starts getting all preachy and wokey, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I don't buy that shit. But I don't think this fell into that category. This seemed real innocent to me.
It's just a Disney
It seemed
movie.
real innocent, but also agenda or not, if Hollywood doesn't help us pave the way to how society should be accepting, I don't know who's going to, because that's what we absorb more than food, more than water, more than sex. We absorb Hollywood all day, every day.
That's a good point.
Just pushed, yeah.
So they've have to lead by example at some point, whether it's an obvious agenda or a subtle agenda. But we have got to start making people realize that if all of our vision was taken away, we would not be judging people based off their skin color. If we were all physically blind, we would just be happy that there's somebody next to me in a warm body giving me food, holding my hand, making sure I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that was a fucking solid point.
That was a solid point.
That was deep.
That's
That
true.
was badass. I encourage all the listeners to rewind that and listen to it again.
Because I don't care who you are. If you're like on the brink of death or you need help or a helping hand, you are not going to sit there and judge the person helping you and not accept their help based on their colored skin, their religion,
100%.
what they believe. I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, we've even on this show before cracked into the boundaries of like just racism is it makes absolutely no sense ideologically, intellectually. Like it just doesn't. How on earth could somebody be inferior to you just based on their appearance? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it turns out that the roots to it are much more complicated and they go weird places, and it has a lot to do with societal class, and which is, again, I'm not a fucking social studies professor, but like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of societal class warfare, and just and I feel like, again, this is a little tinfoil hat, but I feel like a lot of that's perpetuated by our government and they want us to fight, and they want us to be divided, and they any reason they can find to make us like that. They like to keep us poor.
100%.
They like to keep us poor, distracted, uneducated, and angry at each other, because it's so much easier for them to keep all the money and do all the things when we're like that. And racism and abortion and all those hot button topics are great ways for politicians and big business and, sorry to put it out there. If you really, really love and trust your government, I don't know what to tell you, but they fucking don't care about you.
I
And
agree with that 100%. Though.
they want your money and they want you to keep your mouth shut, and it's manipulation of power 100%. And I don't know, but there's a lot. I feel like a lot of it could have been fixed in a lot of ways that it hasn't been. Probably like a lot of things. Probably like sustainability. Probably there's money in chaos.
And I hate Facebook. I don't even know why. I don't even like drama.
Well, and there's
people are angry. It's like an angry time. It's the fall equinox. That's all.
There's something validating about seeing yourself published, like the fact that you can. Like you used to have to write an article, submit it to a newspaper for it to go up in print for other people to read it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or you used to have to make a mural and try to attract people to it. Like now you can just go on your phone and make a post and it goes up and at least a couple hundred people see it, generally based on the algorithm. It's validating. And I do it too. Like there's sometimes I go, I'm going to say some shit about that. Like that, you see an injustice and you want to
you point it out
and cast it out. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. I think because all the shitty people are going to post their opinion. Mm-hmm. You've got to at least counter it. Facebook is this weird Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or Twitch, whatever you want to call it. The social media has become this weird little town square. It's like the universal bulletin board. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of idiocy in it, but there's also occasionally you'll see like a shining glimmer of hope, like you said, like the telescope. Like there'll be like the way forward. There's a crack in the floor or something where you start to see like technology and innovation and like the human spirit overcomes. With like I'm excited. I still as weird as I don't trust like the government and like the people that are in charge of a lot of stuff. But I do have a lot of faith still in humans. As much as I like talk about how people are shit, I still think people are pretty amazing with some of the stuff they come up with. I think that the future.
There are some pretty amazing people. I
remember there used to be like a time right before smartphones when if you wanted to talk and you wanted to interact and everybody would go home at the same time so you could talk on the phone, and everybody was just at home at like 8:00 and everybody was always on the phone. I remember being a kid and being always on the phone with my friends or like a girl.
That was AIM.
Do you have three-way calling?
Oh, yeah. And also MySpace.
MySpace, AIM, Instant Messenger.
Everybody had to be home.
AOL, you've got mail.
I knew so many people that if there wasn't something going on that night, like a concert, this was like early band scene type, like early 2000s. Everybody would rush home. Everybody would be home by fucking 7:00. Everybody would be on MySpace until like 3 a.m. But everybody so we still kind of did it, but it was more of like you had to be somewhere to do it. You couldn't just do it from anywhere.
Do you remember though, just sitting there on AIM at night and you're like waiting for your crush to log on, but you're like trying to distract yourself from other things, and like you hear like that door open noise and you're like, and you go look and you're like, oh no, that's just my best friend. You're like, and then you hear like, and you're like, who just left?
Yes. It's just like a rush, like going around. I was in chat rooms.
I was too. I remember. Shout out Brandon Lee, our drummer for Burn the City. He and I used to weirdly we would call each other during the hey, gonna be online tonight. We're like, yeah, and we would go into chat rooms just to start shit. It was bad, but I remember staring at that little box, just waiting for like a name to pop up. Like Charlie Hunter 664 or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's my person. And you weren't even seeing an image of them. Now you can FaceTime people.
Yeah,
but somehow it's not as exciting. It's weird when you see their little like icon come up.
That's like the first internet wars, like on chat, where like starting arguing. Like that's when it all started. Like that whole Facebook thing. That's the same thing as doing it on chat rooms.
I was a troll in chat rooms before I even knew what a troll was. Like. I was young and immature and just causing hell for people.
That's what we did. Brandon Lee and I called ourselves the Jive Gang, and we would fucking go in there and we would start so much shit. So much shit. And we would have like a side chat going where just between me and him, we go, all right, let's go into this room. And oh, did you see what that person typed? And then we would be in the room doing the thing. It's terrible.
And the room would be like 25 years and older. And you're like, well, I'm 15. That counts. Going in. What is that word?
Dude. So crazy. So
It was nice.
we've been at this for a while. I'm going to say, like, my takeaway from all this is do not underestimate the power of the human race to take a really nice convenience and just fuck it all up by being shitty about it. And I
Yep.
kind of love it. I'm here for it, kind of.
We will do that. And that's just, God, thank you for social media.
And
appreciate
maybe
that.
that's the thing. Maybe social media
That's
is
the problem.
just a big chat room
It
that
is.
shouldn't be taken so seriously. That people are just, that's all the people. Maybe, I don't know.
It is. It's a massive chat room with different platforms, levels, dimensions, areas, but it's all connected. It's all really has one big center, but it's all stemmed from different social media because it's over here. Now you can sync everything.
I wish they'd let us filter our feeds. I only want to see people from these locations, or I only want to see people in this age range. I don't know. I have mine fine-tuned, and people are like, you don't need to be in your own echo chamber. I'm like, if I want to educate myself, I'll go outside social media anyways, because that's where the information is.
Right.
Yep. Not on
Also,
Facebook.
it's not a college lecture.
Right.
I also believe that. We've talked on here before. Hunter used to say, existing in an echo chamber is intellectual suicide, and I get that, but I'm not always on. I don't if I'm going to the bathroom and I just fire up Instagram to see what the fuck's going on. I'm not worried about.
I want the cat videos. Thank you.
Yeah, I want my people to send me funny shit.
Yeah.
And I don't care about this guy's crazy expository opinion from I'm not there for that. I'm about to wipe. We're gonna roll. Send me a fucking meme. And now I realize now saying that I sound like the problem.
Well, I mean, trust me, I do my own fair share of doom scrolling. I go down news articles from different sources. I spend about 2 hours a day reading news from all over the world from different places. But
That's called doom scrolling?
yeah,
I think that sounds so fucking cool. I swear to God, we're gonna write a fucking song about that.
doom scrolling, because I mean, it's such bad news everywhere. You're just you're
I
in
do
this
that too,
depressive
I guess.
hole.
I don't do it like that, but I do. I'm when I'm passing time, I'll get on different news and look at what the fuck's going on and be like, God, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And that's on the other side of the fucking world.
You guys
I
ever
hate it.
watch Naked and Afraid?
No.
No, but I know about
I know
it.
what it is. But
Tell us.
no, I'm not.
Tell us.
We just got done watching I think it was some kind of all-stars, but it was a 12-hour long. We recovered Sunday in Chicago in the hotel room and just watched Naked and Afraid all day.
I love it.
And they drop people out in random wildernesses with just one item each or two items each, depending on how long of a survivalist story this particular one is. This was a 60-day one. There was 3 groups of 3. You have no clothes, no shoes. You just have your little satchel with your one item in it, and hopefully somebody brings an axe, and hopefully somebody brings flint, and then you have to survive 60 days and make it 8 miles to 15 miles to the extraction point.
With no shoes.
No shoes.
No shoe. I would do it
One item.
if
Yeah.
my one item would be shoes.
But then how would you cut down trees for your lodging or boil water for your
Fucking Grace is
for your water?
Grace is I could do it if I could bring my Jordans.
If I could have fucking shoes and not be cutting my feet where they start getting infected and I can't fucking walk.
They were in a swamp.
Yeah, see, that's so. One, I would cut things down. You get a stick and you get a rock and you smash this rock on this side, and it takes a really long time, but you make it sharp enough to where you can cut down at the base of one. I've watched a lot of survival shows.
In this one, though, when you
And
run
I
out
know
of
how to make a
calories, you
fire.
run out of calories.
That's true.
They're not going to let you win a competition where you win a burger. You see them brutally killing alligators and catching fish, and they're excited to see a beehive swarming with bees because they're there's calories in the honey if we don't get stung a million times getting
That's
this.
fucking
Yeah.
primal.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
it's very,
fucking
very primal.
Bugs, ants.
so primal.
The only human interaction they get is if the staff notices they are getting sick. They have to come in and make sure that they don't need to be pulled out of the show.
Well, but the crazy thing is that kind of thing where you look at something potentially dangerous, like an alligator or a beehive, or something gross like an old log swarming with termites, and all you see is an opportunity for calories.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you're not mad at it because that's how you survive.
Yep.
We used to be that.
We did. We could, if you're faced with that, you'd still be that. I think. I could see that. I don't know if I could kill a dog or a cat though. That would be the problem.
I don't know if I could kill any animal, actually. I really don't know.
Are you a vegetarian?
No, I am not. I'm not. And I only am not a vegetarian because I was raised on meat and I can't, I'm not good at changing my own diet. But I don't introduce new animals because, I don't even like thinking about the cow that I'm eating. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think about it either.
But I think I totally could, for survival. And if it's not really taking sport. I'm talking survival, where I know my body is dying. I'm faced with this, nothing. Yeah, I think I totally could.
I like the Native American aspect about respecting it, thanking it, trying to utilize every part of it.
That would be the bones would be super helpful.
Yeah, in the skins. Mm-hmm. So.
What are you looking up?
So, talking about where we came from, I wanted to just cap it off to give everybody something. Listen, I just wanted to give everybody something cool to look at. I'm talking about the things we used to be and the things that we came from, even going further back to even before shoes, going back to before we really had the kind of feet that we have right now, before we even were mammals, technically. There's a group of creatures called the cynodonts, and that is... Cynodont, kind of like cyno, don't. And they're synopsids. So this, anyway, I'm not getting everybody a fucking paleontology lesson here, but basically, this is pre-dinosaur, and this is kind of like one of the last groups of things that, is that a cynodont? Yeah, those cynodonts, and look up synopsids too, which is synapsid. So the cool thing about this group of creatures is it was sort of like the last common ancestor a lot of mammals and reptiles both had. Pretty much after these guys went away, there were reptiles, which became the dinosaurs, and there were mammals, which became us. But this is a common ancestor for both of us. And there's one that got as big as an elephant.
Elephants are on here. The African bush elephant is an example of a cynodont.
Is it?
Yeah. Fucking go ahead. Go. Sorry.
Well,
and a platypus.
This one is called Lissowicia, and if anybody wants to Google that, it's Lissowicia. Liso, like Lisso, and then Wicia, and it's
oh gosh,
yeah. Wow. And look, notice how it had sort of feet like a dog, but it looks like a big elephant, but it also had a beak. This guy right here. Wow. And that's probably the biggest of the, that's probably the biggest synopsid. There were smaller ones. And in fact, the ones
they look just like dinosaurs.
Yeah. The ones that survived through the time of the dinosaurs that are our relatives, the reason we're still here at all, they became very small and they turned into mammals. So like a lot of the small gopher, groundhog type things that lived all through the Jurassic and the Cretaceous and all that kind of stuff is what eventually became us. But we have ancestors predating the dinosaurs, and they're these crazy things. And I posted about it on Instagram. I put, this is Lissowicia, and it's my new favorite cynodont synopsid. I'm such a fucking nerd. and I actually did the math on this. I said it's also your great to the, great, if you were to say great, 1,041,666 times, it's that many times your great granddad. Anyway, I had a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of time, but I made time to figure that out.
Those creatures are badass.
That's your relative.
I love
Lissowicia is your relative. We're related to weird shit. You know the dinosaur that everybody shows. Look, you'll see if you go to buy a little bag of plastic dinosaurs at the fucking store. Mm-hmm. One of them will be the low flat one that had the big sail on its back.
Yeah,
Dimetrodon. That's not even a dinosaur. That's one of these things. It's a synopsid, and it's a relative of ours. We're not related to dinosaurs. We're related to this weird shit.
So we're not even apes.
Yeah, we are.
Apes are from dinosaurs?
No. Predating mammals. Dinosaurs were not mammals.
Dinosaurs completely died out before any human origins were created.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Dinosaurs were way, way gone before you saw even cavemen or Neanderthals and stuff like that.
This sucks.
Sharks were around, though.
Yep. Sharks, alligators, a lot of that stuff has been around for cockroaches, fucking forever.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquitoes used to be the size of like cars. In the Carboniferous period, the age of giant insects,
God,
there was so much.
I would not survive.
There was so much oxygen in the fucking atmosphere at the time, and there was so much vegetation and growth, and most of the our kind of stuff, vertebrates and shit, lived in the water, and so above water was just fucking
Bugs.
like a Escalade-sized dragonfly. Birds came after dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But not back then. That was way back. Anyway, I've turned this into boring PBS Eons. By the way, watch PBS Eons on YouTube. Watch it wherever you can. PBS Eons is phenomenal, and they're kind of funny, and they stream
Eons.
PBS
That's some stuff that I would
Eons.
totally be into.
Eons has great short videos about like a lot of cool stuff, like a lot of like how come things keep evolving into crabs, and there's just a lot of cool videos on. Anyway, check out PBS Eons. Shout out, I love those guys, and that's about all I got. You guys, anything? I totally bombed the conversation talking about synodonts.
I love that. I was just there's this funny meme. I'll have to show it to you after the show, but it's like this funny guy I follow on TikTok, and he's like in this car and he does thing, and he has a screen or like a filter on the back, like on what he's doing, and it has the T-Rex chasing the Jurassic Park Jeep, that moment, and he's just in the back being like, come on, come to my house. Come to my house. We're going to be friends all time. And I was going to tell my friends, because that's me.
That's also Rachel and I. We're big Jurassic Park fans.
Yeah. They're amazing.
Big dinosaur fans in general.
Yeah. I go crazy over a dinosaur.
Have you ever been to D.C. to their...
No. I have friends that have been to the Smithsonian, and they've seen them all. I've had Alea Miller, Joe Hurley, my friend Cormany. A lot. She worked at the Smithsonian, actually. But I've had people send me so many pictures from inside of it, and I'm just like...
So are we doing a podcast in the Smithsonian?
Motherfucker.
We should.
If we go to DC
Can we do that? My dad, they live up there. We could say hey to them.
Everybody would be so sick of my shit.
I could just go to sleep in the back seat and not freak out in the car.
Yeah,
Dude.
I'll drive. I like to drive on trips. We'll go see Buc-ee's.
There's a Buc-ee's, what, like an hour from here?
Yeah, it's like a 45-minute
And they're
drive.
building another one in Sevierville.
Yeah.
That one's going to fucking suck because of all the tourists attract. Like, you build something like that, just like a cock hair from Gatlinburg, it's going to be nightmare.
So we left Chicago. We had literally just entered Indiana, which is Chicago borders Indiana, so there's not space between the two. There was a sign that said Buc-ee's. And I was like, yeah, I know. There's a Buc-ee's on the way. We stopped in Kentucky. No, it said Buc-ee's, Crossville, Tennessee, 395 miles away. And I was like, why is there a billboard all the way up here for Buc-ee's for Crossville, Tennessee?
I thought you were going to say,
People
like,
we
entered Buc-ee's, and then when we came out the other side, we were in Tennessee.
No, that would have been
big.
cool. That would have been cool. But
Isn't this the only Buc-ee's in Tennessee?
I don't know. There's about to be two, because there's one now between here and Nashville, and they're opening one in Sevierville.
yeah,
Aren't they originally?
I heard they
from
have, like,
Texas?
really good
Texas.
barbecue. Like, it's a barbecue place.
I didn't get to try their brisket because I wasn't hungry when we stopped, and I didn't feel like their brisket
It's
was
just a massive
be great
gas
later.
station, right?
Dude.
Like it's a massive.
It's like a Walmart.
They say
gas
that's,
station.
They say that that's like, I've heard tell, saying Buc-ee's is like a massive gas station is like saying the Tyrannosaurus is like a pretty big iguana. Like supposedly it's a fucking, it blows the mind.
Can I just point out like how excited people get to go to a store called Buc-ee's that's a Walmart-sized gas station?
I'm excited now. You want to go so bad?
The gas was only $3.05, so it's,
Yeah. Tell me you're not fucking excited. Imagine the jerky selection they have. Imagine the beef sticks.
The beef sticks.
Yeah. If you go to just a tiny gas station, they have like 4 or 5
they've got
different kinds.
fudge.
I hear it's like a
Fudge.
whole. It's like a
Yeah.
whole shopping
And
experience.
it's not just like you walk up and grab a bag of fudge. I mean, there's like kiosks of people making these foods for you to buy. It's
like
not
a
like
whole production,
Yeah, it's a
really.
production.
I'm so going to Buc-ee's.
like they got a mascot that walks around on a regular. Like it's a theme park. Like on the regular, there's a mascot. Someone is hired hourly to be the Buc-ee's mascot to take pictures with people who are super excited.
I don't know if I'm going to leave this in, but I'll tell you guys this. Speaking of gas station mascots, I was about to go, fucking never heard of a gas station with a mascot, but I have. Back in the day, Weigel's had the Icy Bear,
Yeah.
and my terrible friend Joe Hurley and I would be driving around. This is probably when we were like 21, and we were just always up to no good. Not real no good, but like
Up
light
to no good.
light no good.
No good,
Like not really
Spencer.
doing bad things, but like we were just being shitheads everywhere. And I remember we were in Cedar Bluff on Fox Lonis Drive, and there's a Weigels, and it was middle of summer, like
I
dead
remember that Waggles.
dead ass July, and this poor bastard out there in a fur bear suit, like a white bear, the icy bear,
Yeah.
and he was out there holding a sign in like 102-degree heat. And as we turned on the road, we saw it up ahead, and we just knew we're pulling over. Like we exchanged no words. We looked at each other and we were just like, okay. Fucking we roll up, put the window down, and Joe leans out the window and he goes, hey, did they ever get a hold of you? Did they ever get a hold of you? And the poor guy in the bear suit was just like, what? I don't know. And he just grabbed his crotch and he goes, "These nuts." And I just burned out and we drove off.
God.
And in the rearview mirror,
How did y'all know you were doing that?
we were like that. And I knew, I looked in the rearview mirror and I just saw the poor thing like just slump over, like not shake its fist.
He probably quit. He
Like
probably quit his job.
that could have been what put him over the edge.
That could have been.
Which we might have been doing him a favor, but we were those two.
Oh, I don't know why this made me think. I was thinking like he would just
These
become a mass shooter, but they were practicing a mass shooting drill at the Westtown Mall
What?
today. Yeah, there wasn't a mass shooting. The sheriff's department or police officers were practicing a mass shooting scene. Like, so what would they do?
Like
if
involving
it happened?
involving
where they-
civilians?
Yeah.
Like you could participate?
Yeah, so it's like they practice it, so they get better at this, and
But-
then shoot another black kid in the back.
Dave Chappelle said, he goes, when you're training people to deal with mass shootings, aren't you also training the shooter?
I was just thinking that. I'm like, okay, so the mass shooters are just going to show up to these to learn what we're
He goes,
doing.
who is statistically white, you know?
I don't know if they like have like an actual shoot. Like I feel like it's
But the shooter's one of the guys in the class or in the mall. Like he's like, oh, is that where they're going to
No, yeah, the future shooter is just taking the class to know how to circumvent the new plans that are in place that people are taking.
Yeah, like if the guy's in the crowd and he goes,
Yeah.
all right, when the guy opens fire, everybody dive behind this plant. He's going to go, well, that's where I'm shooting, you know?
While we were in Chicago, we went to a free festival down by the Bean, but you had to go through security, and everyone's like, why is there security if this is a free park festival? And it's somebody turned around, it's because of all the mass shootings that happen around here. And I'm like,
Fuck.
there's more than the ones that make the news? And they're like, yeah, all the time. And I was like, okay.
Ugh.
So makes sense.
Watch yourself out there, people.
please do.
Be aware of it. At least, we're not going to get into like guns or this or police, or just be aware of your surroundings at the very most basic level.
You don't have to talk to everybody. You don't have to be friendly to strangers. You don't have to talk to them.
Yeah.
You can, if you feel uncomfortable, you're allowed to walk away.
Yeah, just I would say keep your head about you. Like notice if there's a creepy guy in the room, just like keep an eye. If you're on your way to your car in the parking lot and you see like a guy across the park, just keep an eye on that guy. You know, like be aware of your surroundings. If you see somebody about to do some creepy shit, at least this may not solve all your problems, but it definitely will increase your chance of like, you know, getting caught in a bad situation. You know.
Yeah. You don't like those bad situations. You need to stay safe. Look out for each other. Be smart.
Yes, because we want you guys to come back and see all the fun shit we have planned for you here at Beacon House, especially getting into the month of October, our favorite time of year. It's going to be great. Please come back and join us, guys. Keep an eye on our social media for the next thing that we have coming, and the next thing, and the next thing. And if you have any spooky suggestions about stuff we could do for Halloween, send them in.
Yeah,
to social
reach
media.
out to Spencer. I'm always telling people to give me things, like some topics that we'll talk about. And it is almost October. Favorite holidays coming up.
100%.
It's good to be back.
All right, gang. Once again, thank you so much to our guest, Rachel Reetz, for being here. Rachel, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And guys, take care of each other. We'll see you next time.
Bye.